Welcome to another episode of Comedy Wham Presents with me, your host Valerie, and sometime kitty co-hosts Miss Purrington and Mookie. ComedyWham.com is your place to go for features about all Austin comedy. In addition to podcasts, Comedy Wham brings you articles, album reviews, our advice column, Rochelle Takes on Comedy, our festivals page listing upcoming festivals across the country and the world, and our 2023 FPIA contest page with final results for 2023. We're best known for our events page for live comedy shows in Austin, Houston, and DFW, where 100% of the entries you see come from comics and producers. If you want your show featured on the calendar, click the Submit a Show button at the top of the homepage or events page to complete the short survey. It's free and easy. Tag us on your Instagram stories and we'll share your show promo with our Instagram followers. Want to support these resources we provide? You can donate to Comedy Wham on PayPal, Venmo, or even Patreon. Click the Support CW icon on our homepage on the top right to see the ways that you can help us. Now back to our podcast. Launched in 2016, the Podcast Project brings you funny people and their stories. As a fan, I like to delve into a comic's background and motivations, and will usually take a detour along the way. Consider the interview a way for you to get to know the folks that make the Austin comedy scene one of the best in the country. If you like this podcast, please rate and review us. Today, we're talking to somebody who's originally from Massachusetts. He moved to Portland for several years and then moved to Austin a mere 2 years ago. He has not, despite the internet saying otherwise, opened for Phoebe Robinson, though he should. He won the second funniest person in Portland by Willamette Week, which I think is probably the equivalent to the Austin Chronicle. He'll fact check me in a moment. He's co-host along with Comedy Wham darling Colton Dowling of the Some of This Is Bad podcast. And he thought he was having a great weekend when he featured for Bonnie McFarlane in mid-September. But by Sunday evening, Sunday, September the 10th of that very same weekend, he was crowned the winner of the 2023 Cap City Comedy Club Funniest Person in Austin contest. And as a way to celebrate, this is our 300th Comedy Wham Presents episode. And now, Comedy Wham presents our guest, Dylan Carlino.
Hi, how are you?
Hi,
good. You're so professional. If anyone here listens to my podcast, they'll be like, wow, that's a real podcast. Because my podcast starts every single week with me and Colton screaming.
But that's Colton, and that's you.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're both, yeah, it's insane. But, even just, a couple of months ago, we were like, oh, we should probably start, plugging ourselves. It's like, you have a full website. I'm like, okay.
I'm sure Colton has not told you because he is so involved in so many things, and he's so busy. But the reason we call him our Comedy Wham darling is he literally saved our asses during COVID, because we wanted to give comics a way to perform. And so our web genius, Richard, figured out a way to do online shows with all the technology. I'm not a technology person. Yeah. And Colton was on board. He was our host. And we did these things from March until we wrapped them up by I think late November, early December. And he was exhausted of it. We were exhausted of it. It's an online show. Everybody in retrospect hates those things.
Yeah.
But he and his connections, he was able to bring us amazing comics.
Oh yeah, Colton is an innovator, and is a hustler.
Yes.
I think of myself as a hustler, but actually working with Colton, it's we're very different people in the sense that he's we gotta keep moving, and I'm very much.
Sounds
and I'm very much I could take a week off. I would love a week off. It would be filled with guilt and shame about taking the week off, but I'm ooh, I don't want to leave my apartment.
Yeah. Well, so, we love Colton, and I have mentioned to you after you won the contest that I saw you at the Creek with Colton. I cannot remember what show it was.
I think I think it was mine and Colton's first live show together for Some of This Is Bad.
Probably then.
Yeah. And I immediately, when you said that, I responded with, that show was so bad. I'm not...
I mean, I thought it was great.
That's not true. Don't lie to your face. Don't lie to the people who listen to you.
Oh my God, you can tell I'm blushing, right?
Well, because the first thing you said to me after I said it was bad, you go, well, I didn't want to say it. I go, I know. Well, me and Colton are, especially on stage, we are both very domineering personalities on the stage. And so we thought, like, oh, we'd get on stage and be, like, incredible. But then we have to remember, like, we don't have a relationship on stage. We only, you know what I mean? So it took us a while, but it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Just come to the shows. They're great now.
Yeah, you figured it out, and the whole dynamic stuff has been worked out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Dylan, I have an official icebreaker question.
Amazing.
It is one word to describe your past.
Oh my God. One word to describe my past. This is so humiliating. Because I think of myself so much like someone who's been on a journey. I very much like. Okay, it's 3 words, but it is 1 word, which is eat, pray, love.
I saw that coming up all the time.
Well, that's my problem. Is like, God forbid you tell anyone who's writing something about you in comedy, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, now they write this in every single thing. You're like, oh, I didn't realize they were going to use this bio. You know, it's humiliating. But yeah, eat, pray, love. I'm constantly on a. I'm very much like a divorced mom who like has something in her. You know what I mean? And I have to go figure out what that is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We were talking before I hit record that, this is a little small town, little neighborhood, and you said you grew up in a town of 5,000.
Yeah.
So this is
Massachusetts. The Berkshires, if you've heard of it.
Isn't that the fancy place?
It's technically the fancy place, but it's so working class at the same time. It's like, I always think it's like, it is, but it's like, I was a townie, you know? So, which I love. I love the idea of being a townie and, working on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
There was no wrong side of the tracks, but it was all pretty nice.
Did comedy play a role in your life? I know you're going to bring her up at some point, so I won't lead you.
Who?
Oh, you know who?
Oh, okay.
KG.
Oh, Kathy Griffin?
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny. I literally was about to say, well, no, but Kathy Griffin. I didn't know that stand-up comedy was even something that was happening.
Yeah.
I knew who Kathy Griffin was. I thought Kathy Griffin was the only person who had ever done this. I got because all I watched was Bravo, so it was like she has the most specials out of anyone in the world.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, Kathy Griffin does it, but that's obviously Kathy Griffin. If you did that, it'd be like copying.
Yeah.
And then when I was like 18, I found out who Sarah Silverman was, and then it was like, and I spent the next 3 years after high school only watching comedy every single day.
So you said you watched Bravo a lot, but there are male voices on Bravo, weren't there? Or was it really all Kathy? Because I know I used to watch her show, not the special. Yes.
Yeah, incredible show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so I would watch the specials. I'd watch that, and I basically just go to school and use her insults on my friends and pretend like they were mine. So it's like, and because no one else was watching them, so I was like, I'm killing that. But yeah, no, comedy played no part. I mean, even like I liked comedy movies, but I wasn't like. I had no idea what stand-up was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So what did you do? Did you do any performance then?
In high school?
Yeah.
I mean, I was smoking weed and telling people I wasn't gay. Is that performing?
Yes. Yeah. Technically, yes.
And if they were reviewing that performance, it would be lackluster as no one believed it.
Why do you think they didn't believe it?
I don't know, because I was walking down the hallway with 12 girls, 6 on each arm, as they're all like, he's not gay, So it was like, it wasn't like I was hiding. I wasn't like playing football, struggling, Yeah. I was like kind of bitchy and starting fights between girls.
Okay, if you'll humor me, so, and I will apologize if I use all the wrong terminology and whatever. Did you feel a pressure? Did you know, first of all, in your heart of hearts, did you know that you were gay?
Oh. I'm sorry. I've literally been living in Texas for 2 years. That when you said that, I was like, she's about to say faggot. like that's what every straight male. Oh no, I mean, terrified that you hear it every single night here, which just like doesn't bother me. But I I was like, uh-oh.
And was there like either a family or the small town that was the source of the pressure for you not being out?
I think that people forget that small town Massachusetts, 2008. I mean, the worst thing you could be is gay. You know what I mean? Like to yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure everyone would have been like fine with it. You know what I mean? But it was just like, yeah. I mean, it was really more on myself. I think being like, you know, I don't want to be gay.
Yeah.
So, but. Yeah.
So did you have a coming out party or
I got
what do people do?
I love
these
this.
days?
We're such a Gen Z about it. I'm 29. I'm like, coming out party. I mean, I got blackout drunk on Thanksgiving and told my mom I had to talk to her.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I just like one by one told people and everyone was like, yeah, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I wasn't like kicked out of the house. Yeah.
Because with my generation and people of my age growing up, that very much is a thing.
Yeah.
Like I am very pleased when I hear stories of, I really was only keeping it, you know, quiet for myself. Everybody else knew, and when I told them, they were like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, like every adult I ever met was like, you know, Dylan, I could really see you being like a hairstylist. Or like, I could really see you as like a nurse. You know what I mean? It's like, it was like all these jobs that they had deemed as gay that they were like, this is appropriate to say. You know what I mean?
I guess. I don't know.
It's so funny you asked that because I don't know, now being out for I mean, 11 years, I'm like, I don't even think about that. I'm like, yeah, I guess it was hard to be gay. You know what I mean? Like, it's... I'm like, I haven't thought about it in so long in the context of not being out.
Yeah. There's such a personality that you have on stage. It's like, that's just very on display.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, do I gay it up more on stage? But I mean, I'm definitely doing something more on stage, you know. But yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do after high school?
Basically got like really fat and worked at a gas station. I just kind of like packed on the pounds and partied with my friends every single weekend. Failed out of community college twice. Because I just
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. The second time I had only kept going because I'd found a good group of people to have lunch with.
Oh.
So I would just like kind of go for the lunch.
Yeah.
And then I remember I told them, I was like, I think this summer I'm going to try stand-up comedy. And they were all like, yeah, do that. And then that summer I did stand-up and I was like, yeah, I'm never going back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you think you wanted to learn in community college?
I think when I did graduate high school, I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. But then it's like, no, that's so, you know, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to be a writer. And then I started like reading, like I was reading like for like 2.5 years, like a book a week. Like I read so much. And I was like, oh, I really have like ideas and like these characters are coming. But I'm also like a procrastinator, so I never wrote a fucking word. So, but in my mind, I'm like, the stories are like breaking into me. Like, yeah. But then no. And then stand-up came in. It was like, oh, you write this and go right on stage and you're good. I'm like, oh, that's what I need.
Yeah.
The ADHD pipeline.
Yeah. Well, the optimist in me wants to believe that you reading all of that stuff, whatever it was that you were reading, like it kind of informed.
No, they were really like, I one time read all 18 Pretty Little Liars books. You know what I mean? Like it's
okay, so you weren't reading Nietzsche.
No. I would bring Anna Karenina to my to pretend to read outside like my teachers and my community college's like office hours to be like, I'm a thinker. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even fucking reading it.
So you've been acting your entire life, Dylan,
yeah.
is what you're telling me.
Yes. I'm actually an actor. So.
All right. So you're living the life. I mean.
So I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm working at the gas station. I'm chilling. I'm loving that gas station job.
You're a health nightmare.
A health nightmare. Oh, yeah. A health absolute. A walking demon. I'm at my small town. Just getting blackout drunk, hanging out. And then, yeah.
And a town of 5,000, you said you decided to do stand-up, but where do you go in a small town?
So I do have a little bit of so this is, now that I'm doing stand-up for so long, I'm like, oh, it's so cool that it started this way. But I drove to Northampton, Massachusetts with a friend to go do I saw they had an open mic. And I was like, I'll go do that. And I went, and I think me and my friend were both so nervous. We both got drunk and went up, and I like it killed. You know, I'm sure if I watched it now, I'd be like, not good. You know what I mean? But in the moment, it felt like I was killing. I remember just being like, I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. And then the next week, went back to it. So a guy came up to me and he was like, hey, that was great. Come to my open mic next week. And I was like, oh, great. And then I went, and like it was like immediately a different situation of like at a bar, all of the TVs are on. I'm bombing with the same material. And then some people from my hometown heard that I was doing stand up like 5
Doing
times.
stand up after 2 open mics.
Yeah. And they were like, we want to book you at the restaurant for an hour gig every week, like for the month. And I was like, yeah, like not a problem.
You've been acting your entire life.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, no, I also am like
no.
delusional. Like, when you're a new comic, you're delusional. You know what I mean? You're like, yeah, it's not like I started in like a scene with like rules or any of this stuff. So I was like, yeah, like let's do the dates, and and I would love to. And I literally would just like, I remember feeling like I was a writing machine. I would like just write down 60 bullet points, just bring up my notebook on stage. It would be like packed out, and I would just like go through all of my notes, and I would do it for an hour. Yeah, it was nuts. And then I just started doing, there was like no open mics for like, I want to say like 4 or 5 months, and I was just doing these like bar shows in the Berkshires. And like my friend's mom was in a band, so I would like bring her amp, and I had like bought my own microphone and like just plug it in and like be at this bar and do well. And like, I knew like everybody who was coming to these shows, and like it's like almost like community stand up. It's kind of embarrassing to think about now, but also cool because no one else did it this way, to the point where there was a guy who produced like a pretty well-known podcast in New York, and he lived in the Berkshires, and he started an open mic, and there was I think 5 or 6 of us as comedians. And he would give us everyone 7 minutes. But for the first one, like, I didn't know how this worked. I just knew I was going for an open mic. That, like, afterwards, he was like, I was like, I can't wait for, like, the next one. I think I messaged him. And he was like, you're not allowed at the next one. And I was like, what? Like, I thought I had done so well. And he was like, you did great. He was like, but it's a 7-minute mic, and you did 20 minutes.
Oh, my God.
And I was like,
Yikes.
oh, he was like, I was lighting you from the back. I was like, no one had ever given me the light before. I was like, I thought you were taking pictures. Like, and then he was like, okay, you can come back. And then did that. And yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you really didn't know the rules at all, even to that extent.
No. And then we just all kind of, me and those 5 people, basically all in our different towns in the county, like all had our own open mics, and like once a week we'd be, sometimes only twice a month we'd be able to do stand up. But it would always be that. And he would then bring in like New York comics, and he'd be like, come do a guest spot for them. But and he'd be like, come open for them, come do this. So I got to meet a lot of like really established comedians and work with them, but ultimately it like wasn't enough. But yeah.
Did that what I saw on stage at the FPIA finals is this very rapid fire, like you were, and I read a press piece by, I know I'm going to get this wrong. It was by the Willamette Week that talked about like you don't really let the audience recover because you're on to like the next laugh, getting them to laugh nonstop. And they had a really charming way of putting it. Did that start from the get-go?
Yeah, like from stand up. Even in high school, middle school, I'll say it's like I would say crazy shit because I thought it was funny. It's like I would just say the first thing that would come out of my mouth, and it would make everybody laugh. And everyone since a young age would be like, "Why is it bad when I say it, but when Dylan says it, it's okay?" Like I have friends now who like, well, we would be in Portland and I would be talking and they'd be like glaring at him and he'd be like, he's saying it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying anything and you're mad at me. You know what I mean? Like, and so I think that has always been it. And then the rapid fire is like, just don't let them. I mean, I say some kind of edgy stuff on stage, so it's like, yeah, it's like, don't. It's just don't let them. It's so gross to be like, I'm edgy. Yeah, I'm not doing that on this podcast. You know what I mean? But like, I don't really like to give people a second to think about what I just said. Let's move on to topics. Who's bored?
My gosh. Okay, so that has just been your style from the get-go. It's just part of your personality.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're getting some notoriety in the Berkshires.
Oh yes.
So what precipitated the move
To
The big
Portland?
move, yeah.
I heard there was gay people there.
You didn't hear that there were any in New York, which is closer?
No, and actually I got to Portland and it was all lesbians, but which is pretty hard to deal with when you're a gay man. Oopsie. I guess I'm just showering with plants now, but which is what ended up happening in a lovely. And if anyone has the chance to live with lesbians, it's one of the greatest experiences of your life. But no, I actually it's funny I said Eat Pray Love. I love Elizabeth Gilbert who wrote Eat Pray Love, and very it's so funny how aggressive I am on stage versus spiritually at home. When I'm locked in my apartment, I'm like, yeah, so God's all within us and creativity, our ideas, and it's so stupid, but all these things came to fruition, and I had lost I want to say 75 pounds because I used to be over 400, and I ended up going to this workshop with Elizabeth Gilbert and her, and it was at the time where her partner was dying of cancer. And it was this weekend workshop with me. I mean, my mom paid for it for a Christmas gift, and we didn't grow up with money. So it's me and then hundreds of just upper middle class white women holding each other crying with these breakthroughs. I'm not even joking. It was actually one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I remember I left that seminar of the 3 days, and it was on my birthday, but in the town next to me. I was it was just crazy. And I was I'm leaving this small town. My whole life I was I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I always wanted to move to New York, and I never did. And I was 23, and I was what the fuck happened to me? I'm stuck in my small town at 23. Stand-up's not going to go anywhere here. And yeah, I was I guess I just picked Portland. And a friend was I'm going to move with you. And I was I'm leaving with or without you. And a month before, she was I'm not coming. And I was that's fine. I already got an apartment for myself. And yeah, I had never been out there, and yeah, I drove across the country.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just so fascinated by the choice of Portland. Okay, so was it really because you thought it was...
I literally typed in gay cities in America. And I think it was literally between I think I was deciding between New York, Denver, Portland, or Austin.
Yeah.
And I was Oregon. I don't. Now that you're asking me, I'm how did I end up in Oregon? I don't know. Yeah. And then I just went there. Didn't know a single person.
Yeah, of course not. You didn't do any research. You didn't do actual research.
No, and then no, not at all, actually. And thank you for bringing that up in the podcast.
Hey, I can ball bust too.
I love it.
No, I'm terrible at it. So please be gentle.
No, the bag at the end. Please, I've seen what you do. Please, I can't actually handle what you and Colton do on the podcast. That's great. Yeah, I actually don't know. You know what? Also, my friend was moving to Denver, and we were let's do a cross-country road trip together. And we got all the way to Denver, and she was I want to keep going. This is so much fun. And we dropped her shit off and went to Portland. Then she flew back, and yeah, then I spent
Exactly
to the day 4 years in Portland. Everything in my life is very symbolic.
Yeah,
which is humiliating.
But 4 is one extra number than Eat, Pray, Love, which is 3. So everything should be surrounded and based on 3.
It should, but I always say Portland are my college years, even though I was 23 to 27. I was
sure.
Yeah.
So you are obviously, and maybe I can't say obviously, but to me, you are very outgoing, sociable. So was it easy for you to drop into this brand new city across the country?
Yeah, I think anytime that you move to a new city and you have comedy experience, it helps you. So I'd already been doing comedy for 2.5 years when I moved to Portland. And yeah, I think it's hard moving to Austin. I didn't know anyone here either. And it's hard at first, it's very lonely to move, but it's it's all about the thought of the future. It's I go to the gym 6 days a week. Now I do it for my mental health today, but I'm really doing it for Dylan in 6 months who wants to look a certain way or feel a certain way or do something. So it's it's lonely at first, but it's, you just push. I can push through, I'm a Taurus, I'm a bull. Okay. I can do hard work benignly every single day and then reap rewards later. It's that's fine with me. Yeah.
And how long do you think it took you to get your comedy footing where people were starting to recognize you and more importantly, starting to book you?
Portland?
Yeah.
4 months. 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I made a goal. I was like, I want to be on this certain show. It's called Dough at Mississippi Pizza. And the best comics were there and always there. And I think I got there in November, and in January they asked me to do it.
Wow.
And I was like, boom. Like that's, yeah. And then people slowly started booking me, and then, then I was getting booked a lot.
Yeah. And then you at some point started getting the attention of the Helium Club up there.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
I never worked at Helium.
Okay.
It's funny. One of the judges at the thing was the old manager of who, and I said, who never passed me. And I even made a comment when I saw him the other night, because I'm a comedian and can't let anything go. I said, never worked at the club, huh? And he goes, you weren't ready. And I was like, all right, hell yeah. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did the competition every year. I made it to the finals, I think twice. Didn't place. But yeah, won that Willamette Weekly thing, and that was cool.
Yeah. And then was I right that that's like a Austin Chronicle type of thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote the article on you, I'm like, oh, I like her writing.
She was really cool. I remember we went met at a bar and hung out, and I was like, oh my god, what is this, the fucking Rolling Stones?
Okay, so highlights of being in Portland for you.
I had been comedy highlights or life highlights. I'll say a positive one that's not comedy related. Fell in love with someone, although it was ultimately destroyed me as a human being. That was a highlight, and then. Comedy, that's humiliating. Let's take that out. I can't believe I just said that. I honestly, no, that's if anyone heard that, that didn't happen. But
Well, I'll delete it out.
You can leave it in.
I'm notorious. I don't do any editing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. So yeah, I actually was alone for 4 years in Portland, but I was listening to a podcast that I had started. Have you heard of the podcast Los Culturistas?
I have heard of it.
Yeah, so I started listening to them when they only had 3 episodes. They are now a huge podcast. And I remember my second year in Portland, I got to do their live show, and that was very cool.
Wow.
I was like, I can't believe I'm in the same room as them. I think I acted like a freak, and then and then also didn't do that well on it. So yeah, but also it was a highlight.
Yeah.
Thank God they didn't put the episode out, and that's incredible.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's they didn't put any of them out.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask for the low points, but at what point did you start thinking I gotta find something else? Yeah.
Oh, I was notorious for being a Portland hater the whole time I lived there. Yes, as I it is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I look at Portland like I look at Christians. It's like, you guys get God. You know what I mean? With your negative attitudes and being boring. It's like Portland is the most beautiful place in the world, and the most annoying people in the world live there. But also, I love so many people there. But yeah, no, it's also annoying. So I was always like, I hate this place. And then I became an alcoholic, and then was like, I gotta leave. And also, everything comes around for me spiritually, where they were like, I was gonna live in my house for another year, and the landlords randomly 6 weeks prior were like, we are selling the house, and you guys are gonna have to move out at the end of the year. You can't do another lease. And I was like, I'm moving. I'm leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you do your thorough research again and search for gay cities?
No, at this point I was like, I had $7,000, maybe $8,000 to my name, and had just bought my car, and which from a friend who gave me an insane deal on it, and I was had gained a bunch of weight back. Not that that matters, but I had started. I was drinking every single day, and I was like, I'm either gonna move to New York or Austin. And I went back home for a month and basically drank in my mom's basement every day, and then I was like, all right, I gotta move to Austin. I being in Portland and the clouds every single day for 9 months really threw me into a depression every year. And I was like, I need to go to Austin. I had visited once with my friends, and everyone was like, tan and happy and hot, and it was like Barbie land. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone was in a good mood. We like met all these cool people. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I'm gonna go move to Texas and get blasted by the sun. Moved here in November, and then it rains here too. Apparently, I threw out all of my winter clothes and had to buy all new ones. And then just came to Austin.
So that was 2 years ago. So 21.
Yeah.
So what did you do during the pandemic?
I sat in Portland and I drank in my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because were they pretty serious about everything locking down?
The 3 months where it was like full, I mean, like I would walk around, it was like zombie apocalypse. Like it was like, it was crazy. Like it was like nuts. So like if you left your house and walked, people were like, you're a murderer. You know what I mean? Like it was like really intense.
Yeah.
And it was very, I would just walk around and be like, literally not a single person would be out. It was nuts.
Yeah. So why did you, West Coast, LA, why didn't you think about moving to LA?
I watched so many comedians in Portland be like, I'm going to move to LA. And then they come back every 3 weeks to do all the shows because they don't get on any shows down there.
Sure.
And also then they all want to move down there and they want to become a writer or do things like that, which is like, great. I would love to figure that out one day. And Austin was like, people were talking about like, the new club and like, and this is going to be something about, and I was really like, I was in a moment where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like keep doing comedy. It was the only time in my comedy career that I was like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I hadn't written a joke in like a year and a half. Like I had nothing new. When I first got to Austin, I don't think I even wrote a joke here for the first 6 months. Like I was just like, I drank for 1 month and then I was getting sober and going out like very little, but like, I couldn't write anything new. My brain was like broken from drugs and alcohol.
Well, I was going to say you were depressed, you're drinking.
Oh yeah.
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 You definitely have to reset for a while before you can actually let creativity.
It's also important, like during the pandemic, like managing a massage envy, which have you ever heard of a darker just like scamming people out for memberships? Like it's $60 a month and you actually get a free hour, and after that every massage is only $40. It's like woo, like such a dark company to work for.
Oh my god, I'm glad I've never given them my money then.
Oh yeah, there's great therapists, but I mean, I don't know. I also think massage therapists are some of the most annoying people you could ever meet in your entire life.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
Noted. Okay. Let's do the card game.
Love it.
And then we're going to talk about your time in Austin.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Dylan, pick one of these two cards in front of you.
Okay.
That one, don't
look at it.
Okay, so that's the one I'm going to read to you.
Okay.
So this is from the card game. Where should we begin? It's open-ended questions, and it's just
Is this
like
the game where if you
intermission.
play long enough, you fall in love?
I don't know if it
Okay.
is. Maybe. I don't know. I found out from Mimi Meyer that this woman is like the woman who created this game.
Oh,
She's
Esther
like an
Perel.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know her.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Is it because I said Mimi and Mimi won't stop talking about Esther?
Well, no, I know Esther Perel from Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love.
Of course.
I love
all
it. Yeah.
connected.
And by the way, anyone who would listen to my comedy would be like, he read Eat, Pray, Love. You know what I mean? Like, you're a psycho, Dylan. But I'm obsessed with Mimi Meyer. I love her.
Yeah. Okay. So these are just open-ended questions just to, see where we're at. So
Am
go
I
ahead.
starting?
Yeah, you're starting.
Okay. Oh, wow. They really get deep, huh?
Yeah, they
This
do.
is the last time I felt like an imposter.
Like an imposter. Oh, goodness. Well, so I've been writing for the Austin Chronicle for almost 2 years now.
Wow,
Because they
congratulations.
said, it was so nice. It was actually really, really nice. So for anybody that cares about the history of how that happened, the arts and culture editor called me and said, we don't know the comedy scene the way that you know the comedy scene. Will you write a few pieces for us? And now it's been going on 2 years, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, I got my first cover
Oh,
earlier this year,
congratulations.
and it's like I felt like a pseudo journalist this week in particular because I had to turn in a piece that's getting published at the end of the month. but I also needed to write the piece about the FPIA results, and I'm like, oh, this is hard. I don't think I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
And I have like my day job, full-time job, whatever, so I don't have a ton of free time. And I'm like, oh, even though this is almost like hobby level, it's still super intense. And it's like,
yeah.
oh, me, a writer? Come on. No. So anytime I have to submit an article, I think, oh, I'm an imposter journalist, writer type.
Yeah. That's, well, you're doing it.
I'm doing it, and they haven't stopped asking.
Yeah,
me
that's
to-
so funny
yeah.
how people, you're like, oh, I've been doing it for 2 years, but I'm an imposter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, I was talking to my brother about this last time I was home, and he's the only person I know who has the same thing that I have, which is like, I believe I'm the greatest artist of my generation. I just hate my torso.
So you're the greatest comic in our
Okay, well,
generation?
now it sounds like an asshole thing to say because I won the competition, but you know what I mean? It's like, I guess I was right. No, but you know, I definitely think very highly of myself as a person. I just don't like my body.
Well, you know, not much you can do, I guess.
For your body,
well,
there's a ton you could do.
With money.
And once I have that money,
Yeah,
let me
well,
tell you
that
something.
$3,000.
That
What do you get with
$3,000,
that?
give me 6 months, I'm gonna look like Joan Rivers.
After how many surgeries, though?
I think
Of hers.
Of
Like,
her.
at what stage of her surgery?
I mean, like the last year of her life.
Oh, God. No, Dylan. Don't do it.
I'm just kidding.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. All right. Ooh, this is a good one. The last time I felt free.
I live my life free. The only time I feel trapped is when I'm serving waiting tables. But then, yeah, I don't feel like... I feel very free in my everyday life. I don't... I live alone, make good money at my job, do comedy every single night. I can do whatever I want at any single time. Yeah.
Nice.
I guess all the time.
That is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the most important thing to me in my life is being free.
Yeah. Because you do give off, to me, I mean, you probably don't have these, pseudo deep conversations all the time, but you do seem like you have felt trapped at various,
Oh.
trapped in Portland, trapped in your small town.
You're so
And
observant.
so-
I didn't even put that together. I go, me? I feel free all the time. What are you talking about? No. No, yeah, I guess you're right. I also am someone who like very much will just be miserable for years and not realize it. You know what I mean? And then be like, oh, like that's how I feel. Like people are like, how can you deal with the heat? Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm actually miserable all the time. I didn't even realize how hot it was. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're right. I am someone who gets trapped a lot. Yeah. I think I'm just building mountains to kind of hike up them. So it's like maybe I like it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe I like feeling trapped just so I can break out of the cage.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Austin gets to keep you longer than another 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it'd be dumb to leave now.
So let's name names. Who were your first friends when you got to Austin?
Oh, my God. My first friend is Colton.
Was he?
Colton's my first friend. I met him. Me and Colton, I had met Colton 2 weeks. It was the first show I ever got booked on. Uh-huh. He was also on it. And it was at a brewery, and it was his first show back after rehab, and I was also like 3 weeks sober. We both were like a month sober, and like walked in and both like kind of stared at each other like
the gaydar. You're like
I know
gay, recognized gay.
Yeah, and then I went up and I had like a great set. I did all old material, and he was like, "You're great. Come down to the creek or whatever." He actually lied to me. He was like, I was like, I heard someone talking about like a venue, and I was like, "Oh, like you own?" He's like, "I own a bar," and I was like, "Yeah." But then he saw me go on stage. I was like, "You should come down to the creek." Colton was the first friend, and then this comedian. Oh, and then actually my first night here, I met a guy whose name is Quaid, and Quaid, he is from also Massachusetts and used to vacation in my hometown.
Oh my gosh.
And I met him, and he has been like one of my best friends. We now live in the same apartment building, and so we go on walks 3 days a week.
Oh, nice.
On my days off from
That's
work.
So sweet.
Yeah, every morning. We used to get breakfast, and we were like, we're both gaining weight and losing money, so let's go for walks, which is free and better. I'm really making this a lot about weight. Sorry.
Well, I mean, if it's important to you, then it's going to come up.
Yeah, but yeah, Quaid, And then I had a friend from Portland who was living here who was producing my Colton's podcast for a while, who's great, Trevor. Yeah. And then my friend Greg, who I met at a show, and then, we've been really good friends. Boys, all boys.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you got to diversify, but that's fine. I mean, it's good that you found friends like so quickly.
Yeah.
And how long did it take for you to consistently start getting booked?
I took 2022 very slow.
Yeah.
Because I was stopping drinking. Like for the first 3 months, I like moved in with a guy who was like, I need someone to like help do work on this house I just built. So I was like help refinishing a house with him. So I would like do manual labor before I had a job.
Yeah.
For like $20 an hour, and like go and like I dug up a backyard and stuff like that, and was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do comedy full time again, and we'll see. And then I was definitely starting to get booked more by the end of the year, but still not a ton. But 2023, like something switched in the like end of 2022, beginning of 2023, and it was like I'm getting booked consistently. Yeah.
How strong was your existential crisis of I don't know if I'm going to do comedy ever again?
I moved to another city that I didn't know anybody, and kind of uprooted my life again. So I would say it was pretty
Oh,
big.
so that was, okay. I
Yeah.
misunderstood the timing. I thought you were already in Austin, you were performing, and then you got sober, and then you started doing the work.
Oh, yeah,
For
yeah.
or on the house.
I did, yes.
Okay.
But yeah, I was the whole time, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm moving here, but it was really to get sober. I was
Got
like,
it.
I don't know what's going to go on with comedy. And I was like, I kind of had to let go of control of knowing what was going on with comedy.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think, what do I want to ask? I like deep questions, if you haven't figured that out.
I like it.
What do you think would have happened to you if you had jumped in both feet first and started doing comedy?
I probably would have kept drinking. Yeah.
And do you think you, no, I don't want to ask that because that's dumb to ask.
I'll also say this:
Just-
there was no reality in which I'm someone who like it. Doesn't matter what anyone says to me. I'm going to do exactly what I want to do. And like it's like I'm very opinionated about my own life and what I should and shouldn't be doing. And there was no way I would have. I mean, I was going out. Even it's funny. It's like now I'm doing comedy so much where I'm like, now this is what it really is. I was still probably doing like a show a month. You know what I mean? Or going to a mic or hanging out with friends or whatever. But it just wasn't as. It was a back burner.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Were you able to break that? You said you hadn't written something new in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Were you able to break that open?
Yeah. Last fall, I probably would say probably in the last year I've written like 20 new minutes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Almost virtually everything I did at the competition, other than like a couple of jokes, was new.
And do you think that you're right? How do you feel about your writing then versus, before when you were drinking versus what you wrote being sober?
It's a lot easier to remember it. I would go drunk on stage. That's the other thing. I wasn't just like, I wasn't like an alcoholic who was like after the set. I was very much like a couple Jamesons before the set. But we've been day drinking at the beach. You know what I mean? Like, and so yeah, it would be like I think probably less wild, a lot less fat on the jokes. They're a lot like. I think more punchline, a lot punchier.
It's so funny because your comedy strikes so much as like you're just you're Sam Kinison up there.
Oh, that's a very nice thing to say.
Where it's just like stream of consciousness, and I guess that's the goal, right? Is to make the audience believe like I just came up with this thought right off the top of my head.
Yeah, acting.
There we go, full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, I love my jokes right now.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
But also, every time I write a new joke, I'm like, oh, great, I'll never write another one again. Great.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I heard David Sedaris say one time, who I love, he was like, how he quit drinking and drink. He was like, I told myself that I had like a finite number of drinks like locked in a room, and if I had drinking slower I could be still drinking, but I insisted on drinking every single day. And I feel that way sometimes in my comedy where I'll be like, oh, the last joke's been read, but then it always comes back, so we'll be fine.
Yeah. I am now thinking about what I said to you, and I want to dissect it because I didn't think about the Who until just that moment when I said Sam Kinison, and I'm trying to think back to the set your finals set that I watched, and I'm like, well, you weren't really screaming. Like, he was very much an insult, the audience comic,
I used
and
to
you're like
scream.
you're berating, but you're not really berating the audience. You're just like and you're not even screaming. You're just very loud
Yeah. Yes.
and adamant.
Yeah.
In your position.
It's opinionated.
It's very opinionated.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was writing, I should have brought this with me. So I had a piece of paper and I folded it in 6 grids so that I could write notes about each of the comics.
That's
And
smart.
I took so many notes about your jokes because they were so good. And like, I don't know if it's your opener, but it's the one where you you sound like, but you look like. That joke.
Oh,
was
yes.
like
Yeah.
such a hook.
That joke is like a month and a half old. It's
What?
It's so much fun to
Oh
say.
my
on stage. I
God.
just thought of that like randomly with a friend. And sitting in the back of a show, and I was like, I'm gonna go try. I was like, what do you think? He was like, try it. And then every night now, I'm like, I do every single set with it. I'm like, I love it because it's so quick and
Yeah.
it gets at you every time.
Yeah. No, it's so good. And I wrote, because I tried to write a 1 or 2 word description. You're either gonna love this or hate this.
You could never offend me.
Charisma.
Oh, thank you. I like that. What are the kids calling it, Riz?
Yeah,
That's what
that's right.
the kids call
Yes,
it Riz. Hey,
yes.
I love that.
Okay, so 2023, you decided to go full force
Yeah.
into comedy because now your mental state was more, I don't want to say in control.
Someone's gonna
but-
hear this and be like, "Dylan, you were doing shows all last summer." I think I'm looking back. I'm like, 1, I have a bad memory. 2, I have very high standards for myself. So I'm like, I'm sure it'd be fun. Like,
Shows you were like really putting yourself into.
Yes.
Yeah. And you were writing new stuff and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full force, 2023.
you didn't even enter FPIA last year.
No, I did, and then
Oh, you did? Oh, you-
I did, and then they messaged us, and they're like, there was an issue with like the club, and they're like, so if you don't want to do it, we understand. Like, they had to change the dates, and something in me was like, this is a sign. You don't want to do this. You don't feel ready to do this. Take your name out of the bucket. I'd done the competition 4 times in Portland. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
I told myself I'm taking it slow. I'm not doing the competition. And my friends were like, "You're crazy." I was like, I don't care. I'm not doing that. Now I'm glad. I'm like, oh, who's right?
Yeah, exactly. Now you can lord that
Yeah.
over okay, so let's switch to you and Colton podcasting.
Yeah.
Well, every comic has to have a podcast.
Yeah.
So, what was your genesis of an idea for you guys doing this?
I think me and Colton met. We were like, we really like each other, and then he invited me to Rebecca's birthday party at a pool party in the hotel, and something happened where like we were chatting and laughing and giggling, and I didn't realize this about Colton. He's someone who like he'll meet you, he'll love you, he'll invite you, and then he'll walk away from you at the party. My new life is like being like, where is he? Like, it's like I don't know where he is ever, and we were just in a pool, and we both like looked at this guy, made eye contact, and then he said something, I said something, and he turned away to run in the pool, and I was like following after him, and we were like, this is it, and we were like, we want to work together. We were like very much talking about like we have to do something. We were like, we have to have a podcast, and then me and Colton became friends from doing a podcast. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, he tried to launch a couple of podcasts as part of our online shows, like a little and never seemed to stick. So I'm glad that he's actually found somebody where it can stick for him.
Yeah,
Because he does, I mean, we spent almost a year working with him, and he does get these flights of fancy and
Yes,
distracted
he gets
easily.
ideas, yes.
He gets lots of ideas.
Yes. But we have so much fun on our podcast, and I think also we've built such a good friendship through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love working with Colton. It's been fantastic. I mean, like we literally we're like, let's do a podcast. He was like, let's open a podcast studio at the Creek. I was like,
my gosh.
that's great. I was like, all right, he's building a podcast studio.
Is he really?
Oh, it's already finished. Yeah, we have a full
that's
podcast
cool.
studio at the Creek now, and the Creek now has a network, and all these comics are doing. It's really amazing what he did, and yeah,
Cool. Wow.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Ah, all right. I have a question that I've been asking my comics who come in.
Okay,
Think of your favorite joke.
of mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Tell me why you love it. I don't want to hear the joke. I just want you to tell me why you love it so much.
Why do I love this joke? I have a joke that is so aggressively sexual and something that I think most straight people would be like, I don't want to hear this shit. Like those are it's the type of story that you hear and you're like, Jesus Christ, the gay kid, like they could and you see these straight men laughing so hard at this joke, and they're like, you see them have the revolution of like, they're just guys. You know what I mean? And I love that.
Yeah.
So many of my jokes, I think, do that. Like so many straight guys come up to me after the shows, and I love that. I'm always like, they like have the realization like, he's gay, but he's like me. And I'm like, isn't it crazy that we could be similar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you think that that's a conscious effort on your part, or is just you have the knack?
I just like say what I think is the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
I also like I think I have no influence from, this isn't a good or a bad thing, but I have started doing stand-up when I was 21. So I didn't have those like early 20s. I'm part of a gay scene in a city. Mm-hmm. I moved to a city. We went from a small town with like my friends from high school who I hung out with like the girls and their boyfriends, and those guys thought I was funny, and then to immediately doing stand-up comedy. So it was like, I don't think a lot of times, I can't believe I'm about to say it. And I'm not trying to say like, I'm not like other gay guys. That is not what I'm trying. I'm exactly like every other gay guy you'll ever meet in your entire life. But I don't think that a lot of straight men are around gay men enough to be like, oh. I don't know. Actually, everything I'm saying could be completely wrong. And I actually have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm like actually one of the dumbest people you'll ever meet in your entire life. I was humiliated on my own podcast recently when I was asked when the Revolutionary War was. Do you want to guess what I said? 1914.
Oh my god.
And then they said second choice, and I said 1416. Like I'm dumb. You know what I mean? So don't ever think I'm someone here trying to be like I'm different. I am.
Well, that's your closing speech or your acceptance speech is the Kathy Griffith to Conor McGregor.
Absolutely.
Quote.
Yeah. I love both of them.
Yeah.
I do think it's so funny to be a winner. Not like the winning the competition. I haven't even let that sink in yet. I'm like, people say it to me, I'm like, let's not talk about it. But I'm like, it's making me uncomfortable. Because I've been walking around the last year being like, I'm a winner. I'm the best person in the world. Like, yeah. And now it's like, I guess manifesting's real. You know, he's like, I don't know. But I think Conor McGregor's attitude of like, I'm not gonna apologize to fucking anybody. I'm like, that's what I like. I'm like, yeah, me either, Conor.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I mean, hopefully you don't meet his fate and have a competition and just randomly break your leg in the middle
is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's so handsome though. I think he's a bad person,
Really?
but I don't know. I know.
Oh, well, I guess I don't know. No, I've never.
He's not
met
your
him.
type.
He's definitely not my type.
What's your type?
Oh gosh. I don't. I was watching UFC for a stretch there, and there was this young kid that was just like, he'd do the dread. I mean, it's so inappropriate, but he'd do the dreads and then he'd dye them, and I just like that. I'm a dork, but I'm gonna be like, cool.
Yeah.
That's I think my type, as opposed to the look at me, that walk. That's the thing.
Not
the
me.
Conor McGregor walk. No.
I like when they look like they got nothing good to say. I like a dumb guy. I always say the type of guy I'm attracted to has like his last name tattooed across his shoulder blades. And he's like, family first. You know what I mean? Like, I love that shit.
Or it's a reference.
He talks about like respect a lot. You know what I mean? And disrespect.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so hilarious. Okay, what do you want to do now that you're the champion? Now that you are the winner, it's official. You know.
It is official. You know what's funny? I did this competition so much in Portland that this is bad to say, I wasn't taking it very seriously until the finals. And even in the green room, I was like, what joke should I do? What joke should I do? Like, a big part of it, I was like, not sure if I was going to do that one big joke at the end. And, because it meant nothing in Portland. Like, you would win it, and you'd win whatever the cash, like, I think in Portland it was like $1,200 or something. Like, it was not great. And then nothing happened. And sometimes those people would move to New York or LA, and they would move back within 6 months. And you'd kind of it'd be like everyone drank with you afterwards and was like, but it didn't happen. And then so afterwards, when I'm like shaking the hands of like the JFL people, I'm like, oh, I literally had not put it together until the day of like, this is actually an opportunity. Yeah. And so then I was like, oh, fantastic. So honestly, I'll just keep going. No matter what happens, I would love to do it all.
Yeah.
And blow up and go on tour and do things like that. But, it will happen when it happens.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do comedy for the rest of my life, so it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well, the good thing that you get is, I'm pretty sure they're still going to do this, is you're going to get a Moon Tower invite.
Oh, I'd love, that's what people keep saying, and I don't like to say things until they happen. So
Right.
and I go, and I will put it into the universe, would love that to happen. Yeah.
Because Moon Tower is also really great about having like different showcases, and they'll do an LGBTQ showcase, and it's like, okay, well, Dylan's got to be on that one, and then he's going to open for somebody really cool, and then do the local showcase that they have. So it's good. The one thing that I want to compliment you on is, again, it's all based on that finals night, is a lot of times there's an expectation that if you're going to perform in the club, especially at Cap City, that you don't have to be clean.
Oh.
But you can't be dirty, raunchy, gross.
Yeah.
And I want to compliment you on, doing a really nice job of being somewhat kind of raunchy, not gross, but raunchy, but like,
it's dirty sexual material.
Pulling us in, and because you're making us laugh, like you aren't giving your audience a break at all from the laughter.
Thank you.
They're like, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because I am pissing my pants from laughing so hard at what he's saying.
Yeah, I also sometimes think like my jokes will be about like that, like the one very dirty joke I said in that's it's like 4 minutes, but to me it's like it is such a sexual joke. It's like insane. You know what I mean?
My
like,
17-year-old was in the audience.
And I'm sure he loved it. But I think what's so funny about that story is like, to me, it's more of like, I guess even when I think about it, I'm like, the only thing that would be embarrassing is like, I'm like, can you guys, the vibe is like, can you believe I did this? You know what I mean? Like, even I'm shocked. You know what I mean? It's like, you're upset. Think of how I deliver it. You know what I mean? And it's just so fun and so out there and stupid and silly that it's like, what are you going to get mad at? We're just having fun up here. Yeah, but I do it. Yeah, I hadn't even done an open mic at Cap prior to that. Yeah. Wow. So I didn't know any of the rules.
Might want to do a few.
Yeah.
Because the ideal is they ask you, to host a show.
But prior to the competition, I couldn't even get on the mic. I was signing up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no relation. Yeah. I know. I'm like, guys, I'd love to do the mic. This is psycho.
Yeah, I think I'm qualified. I mean.
Yeah, it'd be great if I could sign up.
Let me show you my credential.
Yeah. That'd be great. I'd love to, if they're listening, I'd love to do the mic.
Yeah, they're not listening.
Yeah.
To this. No. I have 3 listeners.
Good. Well, those 3, if you know any of the people who work at Cap City, tell them I'd love to be on the mic. If you could sign me up every week.
You already said you'd love to eventually do a tour and, all the cool things that comics do. Are you gonna move at some point, do you think?
Yeah, this is
Yeah?
hell on earth with the heat. And
tough.
I do believe that Austin, and I live like North Campus, West University, that's whatever. What did I just say where I live? And I said it wrong anyways, but yeah, like no one in the city reads books. You know what I mean? Like
What?
I feel like
Really?
there are so many people in the city who are like, I don't think have any depth to them whatsoever and are walking around. I was saying last night that like Austin to me is like the best example of like this might actually be a simulation because there's a lot of like low coded people who are here. You just meet people, everyone's just like, things are good. I'm like, I don't know if they are,
Wow.
Yeah, the only other place I would live is New York City or quit comedy and like move to a small town and open up a diner. So those are my two options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Radically
And like,
different.
like refinish furniture and like sell
Yeah.
it on eBay.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never really done it, but I do think I could see myself being
Yeah.
happy alone in the woods. How nice to quit comedy. I mean, to not even
Quit on top? Come on.
quit. Yeah, quit. He won funniest person, and then he said, "I'm good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you should say that because as the historian of Austin comedy, I could tell you that I think it was 17. This guy, I don't know if you've ever heard his name, Enzo Priesnitz.
No.
He actually, I think it was his first FPIA, second at best. He won. His trade is a welder, but he welds really artful pieces. And you're lucky if you get to see him perform a couple of times a year because
That's
he's
so cool.
so into, and we actually, I because I had interviewed him the year before he won, I took my son and we went to his shop. And my son got to, beat the hot metal with a whatever thing you call it. If he was listening, he'd hate me for forgetting all the tools of the trade. And it's like, it's just a moment in time that you win on this night after so many pieces lined up right.
Yeah.
But if you love doing something else,
Please go do something else.
Yeah.
Please, if you love doing something else, go do that. Okay, this sucks, and we need people to quit. There's too many people
a
on the
lot.
there's too many people at the sink. Okay, it's clogging up. Okay, and there's a lot of people who don't know they need to quit that need to quit, and I think we need to start telling them. And I agree.
yeah. Well, I'm not telling people to quit,
Actually,
but I'm just,
what just came to my mind is speaking of Bonnie McFarlane in the beginning, in her documentary, she calls other female comedians who she doesn't think is funny, and she says, "Hey, I think you should quit."
Wow.
As like a bit, it's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, and and I'm gonna go do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me how that works out.
Yeah.
Or is that, I guess you'll talk about it on your podcast.
No, I probably wouldn't. I don't like to cause any hate.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fair. Is there anything we haven't talked about that you want people to know about you?
I'm 6'5". I think that's a really important detail. Great face, good personality.
This is not
doesn't
a Grindr
drink.
profile
No,
thing,
no,
no.
I don't want to be on Grindr anymore. I'm looking for love.
Oh, okay.
Not about me. Yeah, I don't know. Follow me. That'd be cool. That's basically it.
Yeah.
What do you know about me? What do you need to know about me?
Oh,
You can
it's a
say-
cool shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I've never listened to the Talking Heads in my life. I bought it at
But it's a cool
Wheatsville.
shirt.
Yeah. I buy all my shirts at Wheatsville. They're my biggest fans.
Wait, isn't that a grocer?
It is. It's incredible. Yeah.
But they have
They have like band T-shirts and stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that, and yeah, everyone who works there is really nice. And I'm an owner, so
Are you?
I paid
Oh,
the
that's-
$70.
oh, wow.
Yeah, you get
Cool.
it back if you move.
I've never been inside.
Really?
Yeah, I went to school here and I never went inside.
Why?
I don't know why.
Is it because like I never saw Avatar until like 2 years ago because I was like everyone was talking about it. And I was like, if you fools like it, I won't. You know what I mean? Like, and then I watched it like 2 years ago and I was walking around being like, have y'all seen Avatar? Okay, it's good. You know, that's how you are with Wheatsville. It's
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
it's so
I don't
good.
know. I mean, from here, it's not very convenient.
I live right next to it, so I go to the gym, and then every single day, if you want to see me, go to Wheatsville Co-op in the afternoon. I am there buying kombuchas, buying drinks, buying like little snacks, I mean, I probably already spent the winnings I won at the contest
Probably.
at Wheatsville. It's so expensive.
I think that's what I thought is,
Yeah.
I'm living the miser life of a college student. I can't afford to go in
Oh
there.
no! I mean, I am a server and I can't afford to go in there. And every day I buy like 60. I'm there. I'm like, I guess it's $60 on the credit card again. How did this happen? You know,
Jesus Christ.
great stuff in there.
Well, we will not be sponsored by them after all this trash talking.
Oh, trash
About how
talking! I love it.
expensive- Okay. Are you ready for your closing question?
I would love it.
Okay. One word to describe your future.
Oh wow! You really love the one words.
I do.
One word to describe my future. You know what? On track.
On track. You like breaking my one word.
I know. Yeah. Well, I'm a rule breaker. On track. Listen, it's all gonna happen.
It
Yeah.
is. You don't know where you're going to end up necessarily, but
Yeah, I
you'll end
believe
up somewhere.
for sure. I could also see myself getting like really rich, quitting comedy, and like remaking like in my own voice Phoebe Bridgers word for word albums. You know what I mean? Like genuine. You know what I mean? Like I could see that. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
start doing poetry.
Yeah, you are very you do okay. Now is Colton rubbing off on you, or you two just that in common? The flights of fancy.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we have very different interests, but like, yeah, we're both constantly like, oh my god, anything could happen. I'm like delusional though, so it's like, who knows?
Oh.
Yeah, in the best way possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I was gonna get a Maggie Rogers tattoo. Do you know who that is?
I have no idea.
She's a pop star.
Okay.
And then I didn't get it because I was like, I don't want to be at a dinner party with her and have to be like, there's a tattoo. You know what I mean? Like it's like that's the kind of delusion I'm in. Like I believe so much in myself that I stop myself from
You
getting a
would
tattoo.
be having a dinner.
Well, I will be. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that's
yeah.
you have to believe it.
Sure. Okay. Well, on that note, that's a wrap on comedy.
That's it?
Wait, no,
Okay,
wait,
okay.
no,
Oh,
wait,
okay,
stop.
bring it on me.
I do everything long-winded, so. Oh, very good. That's a wrap on Comedy Wham Presents 2023 FPIA winner, Dylan Carlino. Dylan, tell us where we can find you on social media and promote your projects.
Oh, thank you so much. I am at Dylan P. Carlino on, I think, everything. And then, yeah, listen to Some of This Is Bad. It's on YouTube, Spotify, full video, Apple Music, podcasts, everything. Yeah. Follow and like. Okay? If you don't like it, don't follow.
Fair enough. We hope you've enjoyed learning about how Dylan got to be the comedic genius that you heard today just as much as I have. This has been Comedy Wham Presents Dylan Carlino. I'm Valerie, and that's been funny. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Valerie. Genius is a strong word. Okay, bye.